Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to this chat about AI and project management. Today, I'm really lucky and honoured to host somebody who's coming in from Canada this morning. Aina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity, Lloyd. And my name is Aina Aliieve. I've been to Canada for the last 10 years, and I've done major progress here as a project manager and also as an Agile Coach, working for different global enterprises. And what's more, yesterday we've launched a global book challenge. So a year ago, we decided to gather knowledge from 6 continents and different countries. So 40 people from 29 countries submitted their work. And a year later, yesterday, we launched the book. It's called The Evolution of PMO, The Rise of the Chief Project Officer Role. And it's getting a success so far, so fingers crossed.
Can I just say, I've just been told it's the #1 seller in this category on Amazon. So, you know, if you are listening, definitely recommend to go and speak. And there's some great contributors to that. And of course, I know you run PMO groups as well.
Yes, we, together with 4 other co-founders, started the PMO Community in Canada about a year and a half ago. And then we decided, why are we limiting ourselves just with Canada? Why not to do it globally? And this is actually where the idea of this book writing challenge came to the table. Like, how can we go global? Let's gather global knowledge. And how to gather global knowledge? Let's write the articles, and let's put them together. So yes, the PMO community gave me a tremendous opportunity to work with many professionals and like yourself, Lloyd.
Oh, fantastic. And I'm sure there's an AI sliver in that book, no doubt. I mean, just going on to sort of AI and project management, AI and PMOs, etc. What's your take on that? You know, what could be the use cases? What's the promise?
Definitely, like project managers or portfolio program managers who are not using AI, they're going to stay very behind compared to those who are using AI nowadays. And why I am saying that, because first of all, I've been using AI for the last 1.5 years, and my productivity increased significantly. So everybody is aware that AI is enhancing your communication, and I won't spend much time here. So probably you notice that many English, not the first language speakers like myself, started writing way better than it was a year ago, because now we have this help with AI to polish our grammar mistakes. Also, automating the routine tasks. Again, everybody knows that, and everybody's using this. I think, like, you can schedule your events, your meetings, you manage your calendar. So that is the second thing. And the third one, which I noticed not many are using yet, is risks identification and risks management.
Interesting.
And as humans, especially when the project is new, we're eager to start and we're eager to deliver fast. And also I work in an agile environment, so fast delivery and gathering customers' feedback is the key to success in agile. And with that inspiration, we forget sometimes to think and to navigate risks. Or if we start thinking, some people call it, oh, it's an analysis paralysis. Just keep going. Don't waste your time. All of this motivation. And then when you're in the middle of the project, the risk happened and you could predict the risks most of the time, but you haven't because you didn't spend enough time. And another thing, if there are people in the team who are risk averse and who try to help you questioning your direction, or kind of like playing a devil's advocate, saying why this project might not be successful. We as humans, again, become rigid to these people and call them complainers or like not that proactive team players. So like if another human says something to you, our nature is to resist first. and then to process and think, oh, maybe this person is right, maybe I need to spend more time on risks. But if you ask the ChatGPT, for example, to play your devil's advocate, you won't resist and you won't feel these emotions towards the machine. So you will just read what it proposes, and you would think like, yes, maybe it's right. There are so many risks. So instead of launching it tomorrow, why not to spend a few other days thinking of the mitigation?
Yeah, interesting. It's the first time I've heard anybody mention that type of view, that actually speaking with a computer or an application of a computer is less personal, and it helps you drive things forward. It's fantastic. It's a really good thought pattern. And obviously I need to come back to your opening piece about don't get left behind, as it were. Is that something that you're already seeing in PMOs in your experience?
I started seeing that in the most progressive companies like Google or Deloitte or KPMG, or even in the top banks here in Canada. I won't call the name because I work for one of them, but yeah, I see that people who are using AI, they are more productive, so they provide better results. And now, unfortunately, the market is so tight here in Canada and also in States. So the organizations are keeping just the key players. And you probably have heard about massive layoff in Google, Amazon, and these like top companies. So how to be a key player, you need to produce better results. And how to produce better results? Definitely, AI is a help.
Use AI is fantastic, fantastic. And you know, obviously you talked about in an agile environment, and you know, certainly agile just brings so much passion out in some people. You know, I'm not an agilist or one or the other. So you know, sometimes I look at LinkedIn posts with a slight smile on my face because there's the passion there. But you know, in terms of that link with agile and AI, it sounded like you can see some huge benefits there.
Yes, absolutely. And you know that Agile has been in the market for the last 25 years, and Agilists will kill me after this phrase, but Agile is mainly a common sense. But how can you sell common sense? So you need to twist it somehow so it becomes like a sellable product. And here where all of these frameworks started coming to the table, like Scrum, Kanban, Safe, and I'm not against these frameworks. They are great. I use most of them for different purposes, but framework is rigid itself. And so here is a conflict with Agile idea initially to be adaptive and to be agile and just to blindly follow the frameworks. And again, as a pure agilist, we might recommend so adjust the framework to your own needs. But in this case, the framework doesn't like it stops being a framework like it was created. So here is a conflict as well with the other agilists who are just like following the framework. And so there were like lots of misconceptions and then even like fights between agile coaches, between people who were like preaching agile. So it didn't serve agile well, unfortunately. And what I see nowadays during the last 2 to 3 years, agile is becoming a curse word, and organizations don't want agile anymore, especially when they hired not really professional agilists who created more mess during the transformations and help. So, and there were even like talks in 2024 that agile is dead or agile is dying. But I feel like we can resurrect agile using AI and helping us with the gaps which we found in agile.
Yeah, it's interesting, and some of the things you say there about, you know, rigid frameworks, and I was just thinking potentially touching on the risk of the Gen AI type of things. You know, we've seen lots of well, positive and negative stories about sticking to the outcomes without the challenge. Do you see that as part of the, you know, almost the mindset of when you receive insights from a you know, a large language model? Do you see that actually, you need to challenge that framework? You need to not necessarily accept it first time.
Exactly. So when we talk to AI, or because it has way more experience than all of us, just having the access to all of those cases, like challenges with Agile, organizational cases, like why Agile didn't work. So when you set up the proper prompt, it might give you insights and might help you to look at the things from the different angle and different perspectives, like you haven't seen before. Or provide the challenges from other organizations, again, like globally. And you would feel like, oh, I thought it's just us doing something wrong, following this framework, but no, it appears that there are 50 other cases globally who face the same challenge. So yeah, this makes us thinking that it's not just us doing something wrong, it's actually a challenge in this framework if 50 other organizations face that. So how can we fix that? And again, AI can help with ideas of how to fix. And I'm not saying that AI can replace us, just providing these ideas. Most, like 90% of the time, the ideas are quite primitive, but the other 10 give you a fruit of thought. And then as a professional, you evolve on that and you provide value.
Yeah, I think that point, just that acceleration of thought pattern as well, and perhaps seeing things that you may not have instantly thought about, and whether that's, here's a user story, can you create the first draft of the test scripts or whatever it is, or the sprint plan, or whatever. Just accelerating that process is such, for me, such an opportunity of the use of Gen AI type applications. Are you finding that in active work, that you're sort of applying it to how you're managing those sprints or those requirements, as it were?
Yes, and I will probably give another answer because I think it's important and I have this thought right now. So first of all, like AI is helping me to identify my gaps and to identify black swans. If you read Nassim Taleb book, The Black Swan, highly recommend to read. So people seems to close their eyes when they see the black swans because they never seen the black swans before. And from their perspective, like the swans can be only white. And when somebody saw the black swans the first time, they just denied it. And yes, as a professional, I can manage sprints, I can run stand-ups, I can produce a delivery, but I don't know what I don't know. So my regular prompts to ChatGPT or another AI tools are to show me my blanks, or what I don't know about myself, or what I don't know about myself as a leader specifically.
Yeah.
And here, like based on our communication iterations, the question I raise, the tasks I am giving to it, it provides me. So first, it asks me, am I sure? Do I really want to know something about myself, what I probably won't like? And when I say, yes, go on, no hard feelings, it produces me the gaps, and it's really thought-provoking. Oh, I'm actually spending too much time during the stand-up focusing on this specific Jira tasks instead of bringing the bigger picture to the team. And that's why we are wasting like few minutes time every day. During the year, it's a few days of the work progress. So it defines these gaps, definitely.
I mean, thought-provoking, I think it's great. I think, do you see a risk that maybe it sends you down rabbit holes? Have you had any of that where you just think, this is ridiculous, or is it so recognizable that you can pull yourself back? Have you had any of that type of risk, as it were?
It depends, because sometimes when you get so much into that, identified 10 risks, and what else? And you keep asking like prompts, so what else can you find? And what other risks on the top of the risk you already found? Or like what other gaps I don't see about myself?
It never ends.
More, give me more. Yeah, because you open this portal to something what you haven't had before. So definitely it might suck you into this rabbit hole. But like after a few prompts, you see that the ideas and the suggestions becomes repetitive, and it becomes like, less engaging even like for yourself. So you feel like, all right, I need to stop here. So, and then you write another prompt. Okay, from your opinion, choose 3 what I need to focus on. And I choose 3 before I write this prompt. So then I compare if my 3 are comparable to ChatGPT's 3. And if not, I ask the question, so what about my top 3? Why didn't you choose that? And this also might give you new ideas.
Excellent, excellent. I love all of that. I'm just going to come back to the book a second, and apologies for putting you on the spot, as it were. But from an AI perspective in the book, what were the sort of headlines? Was it more of what you were saying about don't get left behind, or were there some some real nuggets there, as it were?
Yeah, there are definitely nuggets there, because the theme of this book is the evolution of the PMO and trace of the Chief Project Officer role. So we started from the history of PMO, like why the PMOs were created initially, how they evolved, and then what challenges we faced, and then it was like a call to change, and then how we are changing the PMOs. And here, where we need the role of the Chief Project Officer, and we also spent a few chapters talking about the future and actually the present. And AI, as well as Agile, was a big topic for the future and evolution. So merging with Agile and also using AI tools. And there are a few cases where organizations are already using AI. And the role of the Chief Project Officer itself. So you're running the projects, and to succeed in the market, your projects need to be innovative. And so Chief Project Officer, it's kind of like a chief of the innovations as well. And holding this role, you need to be aware of AI and also force your organization and force your people sometimes to adapt to new market trends.
It's interesting because, depending on the maturity of the PMO, if it's a low maturity, a very administrative function, I think perhaps AI may be a force for displacing, individuals as well. So taking that administration layer away and hopefully, enabling us to be more at the decision-making layer, if that's the right layer. Do you see that as a realistic outcome over the coming years?
I see a slow change here. As you mentioned, there is lots of bureaucracy and lots of administrative work, and especially in the large enterprises, which are like 50+ years on the market. So there are different layers and interconnection between these layers. And when you're new to the organization, it's very hard to navigate all of this bureaucracy. And if you have an idea, it takes months or sometimes even years for this idea to be not even recognized, just to be reviewed. And you need to spend all this time to recognize a pattern. So with AI, you can download all of your bureaucratic processes, at least to give it a script, and it already will help you to navigate. So here is the gap. This chain you don't need. You can get rid of this part of your process, and that's how you can optimize. So I started seeing this processes optimization using AI. And here is a very sensitive topic. So we don't need that many people working on these bureaucratic processes. So unfortunately, some organizations, they just laid these people off, which is a pain. The other, more mature organizations, they retrain these people to the other professions in the organization.
Yeah, it is interesting, and speculating about the future as technology becomes more intelligent, if that's if we're allowed to link intelligence with machine. I think it's inevitable that there will be displacement or disruption, depending what the way you see it, or maybe it's as you said, just trying to get more through the hopper in the first place, doing more projects or more sprints or whatever it is. So it will be interesting. I do feel like and it was very interesting that you said you know, it's the early days, isn't it? It's only just beginning really in the larger companies.
Yes, it's only the beginning, and nobody can predict what is going to happen, not even in 5 years, even in a year. But what I see, like many are afraid that we're going to be replaced by AI. I don't see that. I see the disruption in our roles, but not a replacement, because so far AI never questions you why you are doing that. And I think this is going to be a key like mindset change for us project managers or like portfolio managers.
Yeah.
Because you might deliver a project fast, but if nobody needs this project, it's still a failure because nobody is going to spend money on that. So AI can provide you the answer how to do it, but it will never answer the question why. It will never provide you with a clear strategy. It can help you navigate with risks, but it cannot put the big picture together. And this is what our role is evolving to. And I think that's what we were supposed to do initially, but we were so dragged into this like routine tasks, so we didn't have capacity to think about that. Now, finally, we have a capacity by delegating all of this routine to AI.
Yeah, it's interesting. I probably, and you know, those people that know me, I may be slightly more outspoken. I think that there is a role for AI to play, even in that decision-making layer. You know, whether that's in project selection or you know what to do at this moment in the project as well. But you know, back to what you said. Who knows what the future brings, as it were. I suppose, you know, we generally sound like we're both very positive to the advent of AI, as it were. Just quickly turning our attentions to the negative side. Is there anything that you see that is potentially negative about the advent of AI?
I wouldn't say the negative about AI itself, but negativity of how people are using it, because the tool is a tool. It cannot be positive or negative. Like I'm sitting on the chair right now, so it's positive. I have a place to sit. But if you take a chair and just throw it at your head, so it's a negative usage of this tool.
Luckily, people, I'm on the end of a screen, so I'm not going to get hit on the head by a chair. So
yeah, so lucky you are protected. But that's what I mean. Like AI is just a tool. It cannot be positive or negative. So some people started using it without thinking and reviewing what it produces, and it doesn't relate to project management. But there was a book written about mushrooms, and appeared that it's been written purely by AI. And a couple bought this book and went to the forest and chose the wrong mushroom because it was recommended by the book, and it was like it was a tragedy at the end. So in the project management, it's not that bad, but I see many reports just generated by AI and without putting a human eye or like a human correction. So the data is wrong at the end. And if people don't think, they just blindly trust AI, it wouldn't work well.
Yeah, and again, I hear you. My slight concern on that is that are people, and this very general statements, are people lazy? You know, so they do just cut and paste the answer and you know, not necessarily review it, depending on the context of how much review is required as well. You know, what's your thoughts of that?
I agree. Yes, people are lazy, and we see it's like, oh, we are delegating something, so we can forget about it. And that was my mistake when I was younger, even before the AI time. So when I had my assistants, or when I hired the professionals, for example, for immigration or like the accounting or other concerns, I thought like, oh, I hired the professional, so I can just throw everything on them, forget, let it go. But every time it beat me at the end, because at the end, it's you who are accountable, you who are responsible, and it's under your responsibility to make sure that everything is right. So the situation is the same. Either you're hiring like a human assistant or AI assistant, the end result is on you.
Yeah, interesting. Keep the human in the loop, people. It's been a great conversation, so thank you so much for that. If you don't mind, if I ask you one last question about,
Sure.
what would be your takeaway from this conversation, and what would you like to say about AI and project management?
I would say my takeaways are pros and cons. And one of the cons I could see is that we might have more work as project managers, because if our bosses see that, oh, her tasks are automated, her communication is automated, so why not to give her 10 projects instead of 3? And we're going to be dragged into like content switch and multitasking all the time.
Yeah,
So I see like this my negative prediction, but the positive prediction, and probably the takeaway you're asking,
yeah,
is the projects are for human, and we are humans working for humans to make our human life better. And AI is not a human, and no matter how smart it can be, it's still not a human. It cannot feel like us.
yeah,
So
yeah.
don't be worried, we won't be replaced.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again for your time, and just a personal congratulations on the book. And I hope it goes from strength to strength, and really looking forward to reading that one myself as well. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, Lloyd. It was a pleasure.
Excellent.